deep diving into these cases is like dancing with the devil. But when you dance with the devil doesn't change. He changes you. Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. Long weekend. Oh, yeah. I was just going to do a regular coffee thing, but got thinking about Kiely and decided, no, there's some things that are bugging me, and I just want to talk about them. So we'll give it a few minutes, wait for some more peeps to get in here, and then we'll get into it. Hey, Vexing Vixen, Cotton Candy Boobs, JD Buter, Stacy B, Angie B, Lucia. Good to see y'all. Hey, Darzilla. Hey, LeBrer. Let's talk. Yep. Yeah, got some things I want to talk about. I did mention a couple of things before, but we'll get into all that. But we're going to be replaying part of the AWP video and going over some things that just aren't jiving for me and all that stuff. Hey, Tanya. Shooby Mom. Shooby Dooby. Hey, Mandy. Dazed and Confused. Melmac. Hopefully I'm not missing anybody. Darzilla, if I didn't say hey before. Yeah, so we'll just wait a couple more minutes for people to get in. But yeah. Cher is going to be talking about this too. She's got some other things she's going to want to say, but there's a few specific things that just aren't jiving for me. So we're going to be talking about that.
I can't do that. Dang it. Cotton candy boobs. Shooby Mom, Tanya.
Allison, Kathy.
I just have to say,
Molly Brown Uptown, hello.
Girls, if you listen to this, we are so proud of you. Today is Courtney's 18th birthday.
Yes.
It is the day our abuser loses power. He loses his power today.
Can't do nothing now.
And they will be here soon. They're getting picked up next weekend. They're spending a few weeks with my sister and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's about to be the Brady Bunch.
Hey, Sassy Bones.
She's 18 today. Unfortunately, my two daughters and I share the same abuser. And yeah, so as of today, a narc loses his supply. He loses control. Not just for one, but two, but three of his supply chains. His baby mama, his two babies. He loses the power today.
Mm-hmm.
It is so exciting.
Yes. It's a big deal. Because there's a lot of stress of all the crap he was threatening to do and stuff. But now he can't do nothing. She's 18.
Now they're so excited to come see Stepdaddy Prairie.
Mm-hmm. And they'll be coming up here soon. So I gotta do some work in the basement. I can't do anything permanent because I'm renting, but I'm gonna make kind of a makeshift bedroom down there for them, and maybe we'll get a lamp or two and throw the TV down there maybe. Get it all ready for them. So yes, that's the happy news. And happy birthday, Courtney. Okay, Martha, it's so sad that he ever did have power. Been there, and I'm so happy for you. I was so glad when my abuser died. I don't feel bad about that either, because I'm supposed to, but I don't. Well, you should never apologize for what you feel. But yeah, some people are just rotten to the core, and it's hard to feel any sympathy or any kind of empathy, you know. I don't blame you. But okay, so now that we got the happy thing done with, let's talk Kiely. So we're going to be specifically focusing on Nick, the, well, some say tow truck driver, some say roadside assistance. That's another issue. Was it a tow truck or was it a van? They've said both. So I don't know which it is, but as far as what I'm thinking with everything, it's irrelevant. But we're going to be going over that. So I'm going to bring that up here. Hey, Sarah. So while I'm doing this, I won't be able to see the chat for a few, but I will be checking in on it. Okay. So this is just 3 minutes in when they start talking about the roadside assistance guy. We'll just call him that. But okay, so let's just play this.
A longtime supporter, fan of ours.
That's a problem right away. He's a longtime supporter and fan of AWP. So was he just seizing an opportunity to meet these guys and spin a web? Maybe. Actually, I'm going to pull up the chat on my phone here. One sec. Sorry, peeps. Just so I can keep an eye on what's being said. Hey, I'm still monetized. Look at that. Saints be praised. All right. So I got that up there. So I'm just going to run through this little spiel when they're talking for a bit, and then I'm going to be going back and talking some specifics just in case some of you haven't seen this.
Appreciate you for coming up to us. Possibly has some information in regards to the Kiely Rodni case. So why don't you explain a little bit about what you may have run into?
So my name is Nick. I work at an emergency roadside assistance program. I got a call up in Truckee, Boca, for a battery call. So pretty much that means that the vehicle can't start. So I went en route up there, found the vehicle. At the time, I didn't realize that this was a situation until...
Okay, now there's one thing I just wanted to mention. That battery call, they couldn't get the vehicle to start, so they assumed the battery was dead. As it turns out, the battery was not dead. The vehicle was in neutral. That's why it apparently wouldn't start, which I don't know Honda CR-Vs, but all the vehicles I've ever owned, they will start in neutral. They won't start if you're in drive or in reverse, but if you're in neutral, it will still start. Also, if you turn the key on, you can use your accessories, so they would be able to charge their phones even without the vehicle running.
Later on, but...
Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
You said you went to Boca.
Yes, sir.
So over near Boca Lake?
Yes, sir.
So not Prosser Lake, Prosser Creek Lake.
It's right by Crosser Creek.
Yeah, so just north. So you went to Boca.
At first, when I went there, I realized after my test that everything was working great on the vehicle. At that point in time, I did notice that she was very hesitant and very skeptical on everything that was going on. She was asking me really weird questions, in the sense of, how do you put on your seatbelt correctly? And okay, and she asked me to show her on.
You see that? You see their reaction of how weird that they thought that was? Later on, they'll say, yeah, it's normal because I was a tow truck driver my whole life, blah, blah, blah. But you could tell from the look on their faces that that was weird. And it is weird. It's very weird for someone to say, I don't know how to use my seatbelt, can you help me? That makes no sense at all. So, and that's just one of the things that it really sticks out to me. Did that actually happen? And if so, why didn't he call authorities? But we're going to talk more about that.
On how to connect it to her actual belt. After that, she was stating on how she was there all night and she couldn't get her vehicle started due to the fact that now we both realized it was in neutral. She was wearing a sweatshirt, so it looked like she...
So he said she was there all night. The other thing is he couldn't remember if this was Saturday at 11 a.m. or around there or Sunday. So I think given the timeline of everything, we could probably say it was Saturday, but the fact that he remembers so many details about everything, like he remembers what she was wearing, what he was wearing, what he looked like, what she looked like, all this he remembers, but he can't remember the day he was there. Now, I've said this all the time, especially with the Summer Wells case. People try to distance themselves from being associated with crimes and stuff, and they say, oh, my memory's foggy, I can't really remember. But he's given all this detail about this stuff, but he can't remember the day that he was there. This makes no sense. He is lying.
He has been there for quite a while.
What color was the sweatshirt?
It was a gray sweatshirt.
Gray sweatshirt. Was it dark gray or light gray?
It was light gray.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, there was a guy there that was with her at time being. He was wearing a black San Francisco flat top ball cap facing
Remembers
forward.
all these details.
Brown hair that's sticking out just a little bit on the sides. It was kind of like they were both kind of at unease is what it looked like for me, like as if either they had a crazy night or a crazy day or there's something going on I couldn't know, and at the time I didn't realize what was going on. But other than that, he was a thinner built guy is the best way I could put it, with a bro tank, and it was a white bro tank. He had some freckles on his face, or maybe it was acne or whatnot, but it was on both sides of his face. He was also a little bit shorter than me, so I'm 6'3".
In hindsight, you're realizing all of this. When do you think that this took place? Was it before, during the day, after she disappeared?
To be honest with you, it's either right after she disappeared or right before she disappeared.
Okay.
But it was around noonish, 11 o'clock in the morning when I got out to her.
That's another problem. You're a roadside assistance guy, and you come out to a call and they're acting that weird in the middle of the day. Also, I'm not too sure what the temperature was that day. I should really go back and look. But at around noon down there, I would think it would be fairly warm, especially since obviously their vehicle's not running and has no AC. So why was she wearing a sweatshirt like this? That I could be wrong with that, but it's just one of those things that makes me wonder.
In that period of time, after the period, I told her that I was going to leave, and I hope you have a great day. Vehicle, I told her to keep it running for a couple of hours.
Hey, it's Adam from StreamYard. Do you have any exciting new features?
Of course, with the ads.
Working good on the vehicle, charging system-wise. At that point in time, then I left, and then a week later is when I saw at a coffee shop that she was gone.
You saw this on a flyer or something?
Yeah, but then everything spiraled out of control, and I got in contact with the detective and tried to do everything I could, and then I saw you guys.
Now we know we probably have a tie to Boca, which we...
I'd like to know from law enforcement if he did actually reach out before reaching out to AWP like he just said.
Which was already on my radar. Do you know who placed the call to your roadside company?
So I can't get details. Calls don't go through me, they go through
Dispatch, so you don't have... So when you were digitally dispatched, did you call them to say you were coming, or you just showed up?
I did call and nothing went through. It went straight to voicemail. Yeah.
Do you know if she...
So somebody called for this roadside assistance, and he tried to call back and was getting voicemail. That's suspicious. I know they said that her phone was dead, so she used the other guy's phone. But so he called them and then shut his phone off? This does not make sense.
She had a phone on her at the time?
She did state that her phone was dead,
phone was
so
dead.
she used whatever guy, whoever this was, she used his phone, so that's how she did get in contact.
And what was...
So that would be the number they would have. He wouldn't have Kiely's number. He'd have that guy's number. So when he tried to call on his way and it was off, how does that make sense? It's like he's trying to make the point that her phone was dead, which it doesn't add up. He wouldn't have her number. He'd have the guy's number who she called from that number. They'd have that number. They wouldn't have Kiely's number.
You mentioned like she was asking funny questions and acting weird.
Granted, I at the time I didn't realize again.
What's that, honey?
I said I'm confused because didn't Kiely call a tow truck company and then her phone was dead?
She called from the other guy's phone, according to him.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in the towing industry my whole life, so you see a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of weird stuff, and it's actually pretty normal.
Pretty normal. Okay, well, let's go back. This is pretty normal. Let's go back and look at their reaction.
Everything that was going on. She was asking me really weird questions, like in the sense of, how do you put on your seatbelt correctly? And like, okay, and then she asked me to show her.
Yeah, that's pretty normal. Look at the look on their faces. Yeah, pretty normal. Meanwhile, they got to stop and have a look at each other like, what the hell? But it's normal. Yeah, I'd imagine you run into that a lot in the middle of the day as a roadside assistance worker. Yeah, lots of people not knowing how to attach their seatbelt. I imagine that happens a lot. That's not something that's going to stick out in your mind and make you think, geez, something's wrong with this person. Maybe I should call the cops.
Yes.
No.
Yes, baby. Yes.
In hindsight, you're realizing all of this. When do you think
where
that
do
this,
Was gone.
you saw this on a flyer or something?
Yeah, and nothing went through. It went
Nothing
straight to
went through.
voicemail. Yeah.
Do you know if she had a phone on her at the time?
She did state that her phone was dead,
Her phone
and
was
so
dead.
she used whatever guy, whoever this was, she used his phone. So that's how she did get in contact.
And what was,
Okay, so maybe she called from her phone and then it died. But still, like I said, the battery was not dead. So she would be able to charge her phone. And we know that she actually had a charger in her car. You saw it in the dive video. You see it, I believe. And also her friend Sammy said they went to Kiely's car to charge their phones.
And
So she had a charger.
really quick, while I remember, you know how they kept bringing up, Sammy kept bringing up, guys were there and trying to make us smoke pot, like taking huge bong rips, pot, and how pot was so bad and how could guys ask them to do it. I found pot in their car.
Yeah, she actually pointed out, we were watching
Same brand I have.
the dive video. She's got the package of raw.
Yeah, and
Papers.
it's a pre-roll. It's not the papers she has. She has a tube, and the tube is holding either 1 to 3 pre-rolls.
Yeah. No, this isn't a judgment thing.
No, not at all. I'm just saying.
Marijuana is no worse than alcohol. So
No, not at all. Because there's actually alcohol containers in the car too. I'm not saying it to be judgment. I can't because I smoke a lot of pot. All I'm saying is Sammy and the other ones wanted to act like they were so innocent to pot, is what I mean. That's all.
yeah.
You mentioned like she was asking funny questions and acting weird.
Granted, I at the time I didn't realize again that.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in the towing industry my whole life, so you see a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of weird stuff, and it's actually pretty normal.
Yeah.
You know, so I can see why at the time.
I
It's
think maybe they were
it's
just
a
trying to
normal
cut
call.
him a break.
She kept on going
instead of
over
giving him
that,
shit,
like,
but-
how do you like, you know, secure your seatbelt like firmly and like do it correctly, and that's when
When she was asking this, was the guy that she was with right there too?
was
or-
on the opposite side of the car.
so he could hear the conversation as well?
Every single time the guy would come over to us, she would go on to the other side, and it was just like a back and forth, like a tag team, better to say. Like one person would come over, she wouldn't stay near him, and then it would go vice versa. Or if we were at the front of the car going about the battery and talking about the battery, he was always on one side, she was on another. They were never close to each other.
She was uncomfortable. Yeah, because that screams awkwardness and someone being uncomfortable. And when in that scenario, if he was there with her, he should have been right next to her. If not, dealing with you the entire time and not.
That does make sense. Not to be a chauvinist, but generally, when it comes to mechanical things, the guy would have been the one talking with him. You know, I know that sounds kind of chauvinistic, but it is kind of a typical way things would go. But he is painting it like she was uncomfortable and You know, they were kind of staying away from each other. She was like at unease or whatever. So that's a whole lot of weirdness. We're going to have to go through this a couple of times because I got a whole bunch of crap that it's just not making sense to me. Oh, and there goes my phone. So, yeah. And sorry, I'm not paying attention to
Did
the
she seem
chat.
high or intoxicated or?
I thought that maybe she was either hungover or just had a really rough day. She looked distressed.
Yeah, when people are hungover, had a really rough day, they can't figure out how to work their seatbelts. That's normal. God.
Can you show me on the map where you saw her?
Absolutely.
All right, so we're here in Reno. Let's go.
Okay, so this is pretty much...
But not near her, no.
Did you notice anything in particular in her car at all?
I mean,
Stuff,
besides perfume bottles and like, yeah, actually there was a perfume bottle that was in the center console, and that was all that I recall, to be honest.
Did she have anything on her keys at all?
I don't remember.
Did you say that you guys have cameras that could possibly get some sort of facial recognition on?
Yeah. So we do indeed. We have cameras facing front and rear of our vehicles, as well as that we do have like audio, so we could pick up audio from inside and outside of the truck. So we did have that, and I'm guaranteed, I mean, my vehicle is facing directly towards hers, so, and that's how I normally do it for my protection.
So hopefully that footage has been turned over to authorities, because if this is true, if this actually happened, which I have my doubts, then obviously she was alive and well at least 12 hours after she was last seen at the party or thereabouts, because he said it was around 11 a.m., noonish. Just couldn't remember what day, which doesn't add up. Okay, so let's talk about that. The fact that he remembers what she was wearing, he remembers what he was wearing, he remembers what was wrong with the vehicle, he remembers everything, he remembers the time, but he doesn't remember the day. How does that make sense? Can someone make that make sense for me? Because honestly, it just doesn't. Pull this out for a second so I can see the chat. So that doesn't add up. I mean, you remember every little thing except I can't remember what day it was. No. Plus, these guys, when they are sent out the calls, number one, he's got a call on his phone. Number two, he keeps a log. These guys have to keep a log of everything that they do. So he would know the day, or should know the day. I've missed follow-up interviews with AWP on other channels, answers all these questions. Oh, by all means, if you have answers to those, tell me. But this just came out, what, yesterday? So I don't think there are follow-up interviews and explaining shit like that. But anyway. Okay, what else did I have here? Someone else had mentioned this, and I don't know, but the fact that he came forward like that, was that an excuse to explain his possible fingerprints inside her vehicle or DNA? It is possible, I guess. But the big thing is, from his story, she was obviously uncomfortable, wouldn't stay near the other guy, asking weird questions, acting very strange. In the middle of the day, why did he not call the police? That just, it does not add up to me. Because this is not normal. You saw from AWP's initial reaction, this is not normal for people to ask for explanation how to do up their seatbelt. Like that's not normal. A plant for distraction. Honestly, I think that is highly likely. I tend to not go off on like conspiracies and stuff like that without any kind of evidence, but what this guy is saying, it just doesn't work for me. It doesn't add up. Doesn't have to remember anything if it's all recorded. This makes him look not credible. Yeah. Hey, shits and giggles. Same reason they didn't help Gabby. Yeah, well, that was a bad one too. Yeah, so okay, so now let's talk about where her vehicle was found. Now, AWP says it on their video, but they were very close. Where her vehicle was found was very close to where the party actually was. And there's a stretch of road. Well, not road, but land. Quite a big stretch of land from the water to where the road ends. And people drive down there all the time. Like, even when they were diving, you could see vehicles down there. So it's drivable. It's not like a giant slope. So for this to be an accident, for her to have accidentally driven in there, it doesn't make sense. Why call a tow truck? Why not get a jump from people there? Yep, Nick said there were other people further back. That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, if they just figured their battery was dead, which Nick said it was a battery call, why wouldn't they try and get a jump from people who weren't that far away? Nick even said that. Instead of waiting for roadside assistance guy to come. Yeah. Doesn't make sense. Who said what? Choo-choo. Wrong channel. That's Cher's channel with the crazy train. Okay, so let's see what the chat said. Shoreline has a very steep grade. No, it actually doesn't. Once you get, like, there were vehicles down there while they were diving. It's not that steep. It's drivable. It wasn't the full interview with Roadside Nick could explain the confusion. True, they did take some out. Oh, you heard a train. You know, we live not too far from the tracks here, like a little over a block away. I don't even notice it anymore. Yeah, not everyone outgoing enough to ask for a jump, maybe no cables. Plus, they were obviously, like, if this is true, they were obviously both messed up. Like, to not realize your vehicle's in neutral for hours, apparently. That, yeah, definitely doesn't add up. Think it could have been self-harm. Yeah. She's got, oh, okay. I never saw that picture, but I did wonder that myself, honestly. Okay, some people saying it wasn't Kiely's vehicle that he went to. Okay. Well, he obviously recognized her. So whose vehicle was it? But again, that's all information he should have when they come to these calls. And if he parked right in front of them, he'd have their plate number and everything. Hey, Crime Curious. see one common pattern with everyone's story. They all conflict in some ways, but almost everyone was pointing away from where she was. Go back and watch everything. It was the most obvious place. It was the most obvious place. And it should have been searched. Apparently was searched by law enforcement. So it's almost as if they didn't want, like maybe they knew she was there and didn't want her to be found. I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on with that, but yeah, that is the most obvious place. That whole area of all the other bodies of water they looked at, that would be the easiest one to get a vehicle in. At 11:30 a.m. it was 92. Thanks, Busheet. Yeah, I was wondering about that too. Why was she wearing a sweatshirt when it's 92 degrees out? Hey, Zena. We suspicious that her SUV was in neutral again when brought up from the water. That's another thing. Like, unless law enforcement specifically says that they did not shift the vehicle into neutral, I'm going to assume that they did so that they could bring it up easier. I'd like to know if the key was turned on. Hey, Dinky. Now, okay. The other thing is her vehicle itself. I didn't realize this, but when I watched through their dive video, there were two windows down. The driver's side rear window was down halfway, which might be a safety thing for the CRV. And then the passenger side front, I'm going to double check that. I think it was the passenger side front window was all the way down. So let's actually, let's look at that. Okay.
Confirm. I see the vehicle.
We're about to see an ad.
We have just found Kiely's vehicle, over.
10-4.
Okay, so this is the driver's side front that he's looking at now. And you notice the mirror is not broken, but it likely got broken when they flipped it over. But the driver's side front window is obviously rolled up. Oh, and thank you, Cotton Candy Boobs. And I think Shooby Mom. She said, have lunch on me. So thank you, Shooby Mom. Shooby Dooby. Okay, now this is the driver's side rear window.
Positively identified anybody inside yet?
So you can clearly see it is rolled down, like halfway. But that might be a safety feature for the CRV. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I'm looking in the back now.
10-4. Take your time. Be safe.
Okay, he sits there for a minute. Let's go to the other side.
We just confirmed there are human remains in the vehicle, over.
Thank you so
10-4.
much, Sharon. Okay, so now this is the passenger side front. And the window is gone. Now, whether it's broken or rolled down, either way, it is, I mean, right there. Yeah, I saw. So that window is open. So if she accidentally went into the water, there were two windows down. So I don't understand how she ended up in the back. I mean, that doesn't add up. So what I think is possible, well, this isn't going to be a popular opinion, but I think it's possible that Nick made up a story and her vehicle was up on that ridge where lots of vehicles would have been parked for that party, and she was drunk or whatever and passed out in her back seat. And I think someone could have come along and put her vehicle in neutral and just let it go into the water. Now, if that were to happen, by the time the vehicle gets into the water, I think someone said you got about 30 to 40 seconds. That's about right before it's getting really dicey and confusing and the vehicle starts flipping over. But if she was passed out, I mean, by the time you wake up, you're not going to be able to maneuver. You're going to be way too confused and disoriented to know where to go. She would have like maybe a 1% chance of getting out of there. So I think it is foul play. And yes, people are saying she was in the cargo area, not in the back seat. But with, floating and the vehicle flipping over, it's not necessarily that she was placed in the back. She could have just kind of drifted into the back from the back seat. But we don't know. Like that's complete speculation. I'm not saying that that's likely, but I do not think that she accidentally drove in there. That's the one thing I am dead set on. And I don't know if it was foul play or what, but yeah, it's too big of a span of land from the road to the water for someone to like lose control of the vehicle and accidentally drive in. That's not going to happen there. Her vehicle was like pushed in intentionally, or since she, according to Nick, that's another reason that this thing sticks out with me, the vehicle was in neutral. How many of you, when you drive a vehicle and you stop somewhere, do you put it in neutral? I want to see in the chat. Anybody? I always put it in park. I never put it in neutral. But the vehicle would have had to have been in neutral to just casually roll into the water. So, are they trying to say that this was a habit of hers? She'd put the vehicle in neutral instead of park? And maybe she did that and fell asleep, and the vehicle emergency brake or whatever somehow released and she coasted into the water? That doesn't add up for me. That doesn't make sense for me. It just doesn't. Yeah, no one does. Exactly. But according to Nick, that was the problem. The vehicle was in neutral and it wouldn't start. But again, I don't have a CRV, so I can't test it. But all vehicles I've ever had will start in neutral. So something.
Hold up.
Oh yeah, if it's a steep enough, any vehicle, any automatic transmission vehicle, if it's steep enough, will roll in drive, reverse, anything except park. Yeah, absolutely.
I have something for you because an actual mechanic for that actual brand, that make, that everything, made a 2-minute video.
Shuby Mom, thank you so much. You're so sweet. Okay.
There you go, baby. I sent it to Facebook.
Oh, Honey sent me a quick little video, so we're gonna check that out. I'll just wait for the ad to finish so you guys don't have to suffer through that. Okay.
I think it's helping what you're saying.
So let's see what this guy has to say here.
Okay, everyone, I feel compelled to clear up some bad information that was shared on Zabgirl's live stream with Adventures with Purpose and Ryan Upchurch. At the 14-minute mark in the video clip that she uploaded from the live stream, Jared is asked the question, was the car in neutral? And they had come to the determination that it must have been because the wheels were free spinning when the car was being towed out of the water. I'm a retired ASE master technician that has rebuilt many of those transmissions, and in fact I spent quite a few years of my career as a service manager in a Honda dealership. The 2013 Honda CR-V is equipped with a centric style automatic transmission torque converter clutch that will allow the transmission to free spin in any gear when the engine is not running. Doesn't matter what gear it's in, if the engine's not running, the tires will free spin. You can push the car. The only time that the wheels would not spin with the engine not running would be in park. But if the car was in drive, if the car was in reverse, if it was in first, the wheels would free spin if the engine's not running. And this can be confirmed by anybody that owns a Honda CR-V that just takes the time to shut the car off while it's in drive and then see if you can push it. Because I guarantee you, you can. It'll free spin just like it's in neutral. So that's bad information, Jared and Ryan. You guys are wrong about that, and that needs to be cleared up.
Well, that settles that. So it doesn't matter if it was in neutral or not. Awesome. Thank you, honey. So, yeah, I had no idea about that. With Ryan on some of his ideas. Yeah, me too. I'm not a real fan of his, like his music or anything. I do like his I don't care attitude when it comes to how he approaches true crime. Where if he feels something's off, he's going to say something's off and he's going to pick at it until he finds an answer. I think, honestly, the true crime community needs more people like him who are like a dog with a bone. Like once they get something, they're not letting go until they figure it out. Because it's very easy to get like lost in tangents and rabbit holes and everything. But like what he did with the whole Rodni thing, he kept at it until he figured everything out. And that's what we need. And if we did stuff like that, especially if we worked at it collectively, we'd have a better shot at solving more cases for sure. I know a lot of people don't like Ryan. They don't think anything he says is true, and they think he's on drugs or whatever. But no, I think what he's been doing. Not saying I agree with everything, of course not. But his whole approach, I like. So where you think she was put in the back, it's very possible. Need to go back and watch the Gabby Petito case. Movies needed also. Everyone plays a role. Vibes are totally different here, working collectively. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, the Gabby Petito thing, it does... Especially when you listen to Nick's story about how she was uncomfortable and everything. You go back and you watch that police body cam footage with Gabby. You can see she's clearly upset and uncomfortable. So there is some similarity there. Gives you Courtney Struble vibes. Yeah. Yeah, me too. I think about that case almost every day. Ryan's the bomb, getting her done. I don't drive, but can't you just pull the handbrake and car would roll in? If it's, well, like that video we just played with the Honda CR-V, if it's in any gear except park, it would just roll. So actually, that kind of got me, well, no, because I can't see anybody shutting their car off when it's in reverse or drive or whatever and pulling a handbrake. You'd put it in park. So I don't know. I'd have to say someone intentionally put her vehicle in neutral, reverse drive, whatever. I don't believe she accidentally drove into the water. I just don't. There's a whole lot of real estate from where the road ends to where the water is. It's not that steep. I know people keep saying it's really steep. No, it's not. People drive down there all the time, right down to the water, and have picnics and barbecues and shit. It is not that steep. And think about Wayne Wu. I don't really have much of an opinion about Wayne Wu yet. But, I mean, for him to, with his shady past and everything, and I don't like how law enforcement handled this. I don't think AWP lied about being told that they checked over Prosser Reservoir, and that's clear. I don't think the AWP lied about that. So obviously law enforcement didn't search there, or if they did and found the vehicle, they didn't want anybody to know. Something's wrong. Something's wrong with law enforcement there. I've shut my car off and drive, actually. My new truck, because it's a Dodge, so it's got the wheel, the little wheel instead of like an actual shifter on the steering column or the console. It's just got a little dial. So I actually, when I first got it, I still wasn't used to it. So I got to my spot, and instead of turning the dial to park, I turned the radio off and then shut the vehicle off. It was still in drive. Oh, where did that go? I think the car was put in after law enforcement search. That is a viable explanation, actually. I don't know where they would have been able to hide the vehicle in the meantime, but I'm sure if they know that area, there's probably a spot. But that's a possibility. The only thing is, if that's the case, I would think that most likely Kiely's cause of death would not be drowning. Unless someone really put in a lot of planning. They drowned her, put her in her vehicle, hid the vehicle, waited for police to search that lake, which was the easiest area to dump the vehicle in. Wait till they're done searching, then put it in. I mean, if someone's a really smart killer, I could see it. I could see that being the plan. And then AWP come along and screwed up their plans. So, hey, no, hey, don't pull out the light. I mean, yeah, that's not, I mean, of all the theories out there, that's not, hey, stop it. Sorry, guys, the cat's just deciding to try and pull my light down for some reason. It would be impossible to sneak it in there. Well, they'd have to do it in the middle of the night, and it's a huge risk. Huge risk. But Then again, where her CRV went in the water was only like just over the hill was the party. So you got 200 people at this party, and there's a body of water like less than a quarter mile away. I guarantee you there's going to be some partiers going down by the water. Maybe even a few people going swimming. More logical, it's a police cover up. I'd agree with that. I'd say it's more likely the police covered it up than a very smart killer who drowned Kiely, put her in her vehicle, hid the vehicle, waited till they searched the lake, and then snuck the vehicle in. Or police incompetence. They went out there with a boat just looking in the water and still and missed it that way. Or they didn't actually search the water and just said they did and pocketed the money. I don't know. But it just doesn't make sense. You do see in the drone footage, you can see like a little spot. I don't know if that's actually the vehicle that we're seeing or what. I wish when AWP was there, they'd have just turned their camera down on the water to see if they could actually see the vehicle like while they're above it. But, well, actually, I'm pretty sure they couldn't, because they were checking with the sonar and the magnet, and like from what they could tell initially, they thought maybe it was a boat or whatever. So they couldn't see the vehicle from the boat on the water. So I don't think we were actually seeing it from the drone. I don't know. I don't really want to get into this enemy. Cops aren't specialized at all in this recovery. AWP has a special skill set. I'm not surprised they found it and the cops didn't. Well, then they shouldn't have told them that they searched that area extensively. That's the problem. I mean, yeah, you take a regular beat cop, whatever. No, they're not going to be skilled in water searching, but there should be, like, if law enforcement has divers and water rescue equipment, there should be at least one skilled enough to be able to search the water. Otherwise, what's the point of having them? Kiely didn't call roadside assistance. Yeah, maybe that whole Nick thing was a lie. I don't know. I'd like it if the company that this Nick guy worked for would verify. And I'd like to see, video footage. I'd like to see law enforcement actually just acknowledge this. Because if it's true, she was seen alive at least 10 to 12 hours after the party. And her phone was last used Friday night at 12:30, which adds up with Nick's story because apparently her phone was dead, and according to Nick, they were sat there all night, which doesn't make sense either, but then used her ex's or boyfriend's or friend's phone to call roadside assistance, and they showed up close to noon the next day. So, it doesn't add up for me. Tow truck driver is suspect. Yep. His story doesn't make sense. Like the fact that he can remember details about what she was wearing, what he was wearing, what he looked like, acne on his face, but can't remember the day that he was there. It doesn't make sense. I think he got screwed up trying to remember his script. and didn't want to say the wrong day. Yeah, and why didn't she call her mom? Her mom would have been worried sick, right? Because this was apparently 11 a.m., like 10, 11 hours after the party. Like, her mom would have been worried. Why wouldn't she call her mom? Yeah. Darlene, I still think it was that body was put in water after the party. Perhaps Dave's anime was out there in canoe looking around in water. Yeah. Yeah, and that's, I don't want to go into the whole anime thing, but I mean, she's got a video of her kayaking right there on that spot. And then once it's found that her vehicle was found there, she deleted the video or took it down. It's back up now, probably edited, but yeah. Why would the tow truck driver put himself there? Why with cameras and mics in his truck? That's a good question. I want to see the footage from the cameras and the mic. I want to see the proof of that. But there was someone else who had a theory that he was at the party and maybe was in Kiely's vehicle. So he came up with this story to explain his possible fingerprints or DNA being found in the vehicle. I don't know. That's just speculation at this point. But I don't know whether to believe Nick's story or not. I really don't. Because like we've seen this in the Summer Wells case and other cases, when people are lying. Like, if it's the truth, it's the truth. It doesn't change and it makes sense, right? This does not make sense. He remembers all these details about what she was wearing, what he was wearing, what he looked like, acne on his face, what was wrong with the vehicle, and everything they did and their behavior, all of it. He remembers all of it except the day that he was there. And this wasn't like a year ago. It was like a week before. A week, 2 weeks later, and he can't remember the day he was there. No. That doesn't make sense. It's almost as if he was given this information and told to go feed it to AWP. That's what it feels like to me. Now, if you all disagree, that's fine. But that's what it feels like to me. It feels like he was told to feed this story to AWP. Yeah, it shouldn't be. I think law enforcement should have already looked into this. And if not, like, AWP should have given that interview to law enforcement immediately. Because he said that he saw her after she was last seen. Like about 12 hours after, right? So 1000%, as soon as they were told that, they should have handed that off to law enforcement. And I assume that they did. But law enforcement hasn't said anything about it. So, I don't know. And of course, if this was a lie, law enforcement isn't going to come up on a press release and say, oh, this YouTuber who interviewed this guy, yeah, that guy's full of shit. Law enforcement is not going to do that. They're not going to waste their time and saying, well, this person was lying. No. But if it's true, then this would change the direction of their investigation. This would mean that she was away from that area where her vehicle was found. This takes her away from that party, away from that area. That means that the probability of this being foul play just went up by a factor of 10. Jen P, thank you so much. What reason would the tow truck driver lie? It could too easily be proven with video and audio. Could the guy with Kiely have been Nate, Sammy's boyfriend? He looks similar to Jagger, especially the hair. Could be. The reason like, I can only think of a couple reasons why this tow truck driver would lie. One, he was at the party and he was in Kiely's vehicle and he needed a story to explain his fingerprints or DNA being in the vehicle. Two, somebody approached him and gave him a story to feed to social media. Or three, there are people who are disturbed, and we see this in all high profile cases, who will make shit up just to be a part of the story. We see this all the time. We saw it abundantly in Chris Watts' case. I even called out this one guy. He took the Shanann Watts, one of the victims, took her face, photoshopped it over his wife's face, and made that his YouTube profile picture. So there are definitely sick people. Yes, there are definitely sick people who will insert themselves in these cases just for attention. So I don't know if that's it. I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but this story leaves a bad taste in my mouth. That's all I know. Valerie, thank you so much. 2020 Nissan Rogue starts in neutral. I would think there would be way more vehicles that will start in neutral than vehicles that won't. For sure. My truck might not, because it's a dial, it's electronic. Like, it's not like something's physically moving with the shifter. So mine might not. I should actually check that, but hers it's a 2013, so it would have a console shift or a steering column shift. So yeah, it should start in neutral, especially since it has that transmission with the I can't remember how that guy explained it, but why are police being so quiet? Yeah. I think if they looked into this Nick story and they verified it's true, then they should be doing something. Maybe not updating, the masses. Okay, this is what we're doing. We now think it's this person or that person. But if they have more reason to believe it's foul play, I think they should let the public know. Especially since there's possibly a murderer going free in that area. I think they would have an obligation to let the public know. So, I don't know. I don't know police procedure down there or whatever, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But they will have to say something if they don't believe it was an accident anymore or whatever. But yeah, if this story is true, that means she was away from that party, away from that lake. So there's even less of a chance for her to go back to that spot and accidentally drive in, which didn't make any sense to begin with. That's what I'm saying about everything seeming scripted. People behind the scenes know that Americans are easily distracted with more content. Yeah. Yeah, just keep filling our dumb brains with crap, and we'll just eat it up. AWP said they would not be surprised if there's an arrest soon, and if there is, they will release more info and videos. Yeah. Yeah, obviously they can't, if they have something that they think might point to a specific individual being involved, they can't put it on YouTube, or at least shouldn't. They should give it to law enforcement, though, and I would assume they did. I don't think AWP was involved in this, or I don't think they're trying to cover anything. I think them coming in threw a wrench in everybody's plan. That's what I think. Law enforcement tried to keep them away from there. Yeah, it seems like, and I believe, I don't know if this is true, but Kiely's mom didn't think too highly of them. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just something I saw. Oh, I don't know what's going on with that. My brother-in-law has driven his van to the river thinking he could travel bass. We call him Pickle to this day. She's in the back because she's in the back because there is foul play, in my opinion. That definitely, that's another thing. Like generally, if it's an accident or whatever, someone's unconscious, you find them buckled up in the front seat. But the fact that she was in the back, like in the back seat, it's a little bit more likely, but then behind that back seat in the hatch area, that's even less likely. I think it's strange your roadside assistance because if you was going to unalive someone, why call them before? You wouldn't. True. Yeah. I don't understand. Like, according to Nick, Kiely told Nick that they were there all night. They couldn't get the vehicle started. So they were sitting there for like 10, 12 hours, which honestly, I don't think that's true either. Hey, Mimsy. And hi to everyone coming in. I got a lot more people in here than normal because I'm actually talking about something instead of just having a coffee and shooting the breeze. Oh, Reverend Dawn is in on this? I haven't seen anything that she's said. I'm sorry, I'm a for sure fan, but you are a little bit behind on us. A lot of those questions have been answered. Follow AWP. Oh, I was actually playing AWP's video. Yeah, their most recent video, I was playing it. So I don't know what you've seen that I missed, but by all means, tell me. What if there was a rolling cargo cover and she was under that, and that's what freaked the diver out? They didn't mention that she was covered and you couldn't really see, but yeah, maybe. Well, if they had that cover on and she was like underneath that, then 100% it's foul play. Unknown gnostic accident of some kind. Some kids knew and fled. Parents got tangled trying to cover. Case blew up bigger than they thought. Well, the case did blow up bigger than anyone thought, for sure. And yeah, if this was some kind of weird accident, I mean, it's not impossible, but it's weird. Because it's not like there's like a cliff. Like if you miss a turn or whatever, there's no guardrail and you just poof, and all of a sudden you're in the water. No, this is like a long, gentle slope that people drive down there all the time and have picnics and shit. They drive right down to the water. So there'd be like, I'd say probably a good 20 seconds for someone to react and do something before even getting to the water. Never mind once you hit the water. It's been said vehicle went in backwards. I have no idea. It'd be kind of hard to tell. I mean, the vehicle being upside down is typical because the engine's heavier, the cargo area is the last area to have air, and the tires are buoyant. So AWP says a lot without saying anything. Yeah. And if they have information, they probably do have more information that they passed on to law enforcement and haven't put public. So that's good. I believe the mom blamed AWP because she needed to place her anger and hurt somewhere, sadly. It's not okay, but the energy literally had to move through her. That is very possible. I mean, who knows when, when a person goes through this, you lose your child, like, rationality just kind of goes out the window, I would think. Retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffiner said Nick, the tow truck driver, has talked to law enforcement, and law enforcement has the videos from the tow truck, and FBI is handling the interior of the vehicle. Can you send me a link where you got all that stuff from? I definitely want to look into that. You have AWP talking about the hatch area? Okay. Yeah, because you had the members. You had the members version, didn't you? Holy, you've been a busy beaver. Where is it? Is it what really happened the night of August 5th? Is that the one? Doesn't look steep, but yet Jagger said in a comment on Instagram, Kiely was drunk driving on a steep shoreline and it went in the water. Really? He actually said he saw her vehicle go in the water. Okay. But then apparently Nick saw her alive and well. Well, not well, but alive in her vehicle 12 hours later. So somebody's full of shit. Actually, more than one person. Second video. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're going to play this video from Cotton Candy Boobs. If you haven't subbed to her, do it up. And here we go.
And their car has been flipped. Have you ever found anybody in the hatchback area, and would it be tough for somebody to float back there?
Never in the hatchback area. It would be almost impossible for somebody to float back there, especially if the car is upside down. I mean, there's always that slim chance of being struck by lightning, in my opinion. As far as any other cases that we've found somebody in the hatchback area, we have found people fighting to get out, but in doing so, as the vehicle is going underwater and you're fighting for your life, the body is clung to and is trying. These images are burning in my head from past experience, that they are trying and they are fighting for life to get out, but they also already know that they have an access to get out. So here's the thing in this one, in my opinion, okay, there's no reason to be going for the hatchback unless the hatchback was open, which it was not. In another case that I had, 100% the side windows were up and the hatchback was open, and that's where he was fighting for his life to get out of the back of the vehicle. He did not make it. In this particular case, you have, let's say that the two front windows were up and that it didn't break until it was smashed underwater. You do have the side window, though, that was down, and in my opinion, based upon how far the window was down, as well as the distance from the hatchback area to those back seats, you have a much greater chance of climbing out that side window than you would a hatchback that's completely locked and sealed, that you're not going to have any access to get out of. There's nothing inside for you to pull to open that I know of. I don't own a 2013 CRV, so I don't know. But in my opinion, based upon that distance of the rear and the hatchback area versus the window that was down, I would instead envision being, struggling for that last, breath to get out that window.
Okay, thank you. And you said that
Yep, that sounds pretty accurate to me. Now, obviously, we're have to like take away the common sense factor and panic, and put all that aside and say what's the likely thing that someone who's alert would try to do. But if someone is drunk and passed out and they wake up and they're wet, they got no chance. I mean, you never know where they're equally as likely to stay where they're at, to go all over the place and in the back of the vehicle or whatever, because they have no idea what's going on. That said, I do not think this was an accident. I do not think Kiely accidentally drove her vehicle into the water. I just don't. Something's off with Jagger. Something's off with Nick. The fact that he remembered so much detail about this incident and couldn't remember the day, it's just weird. And if his story is true and she was seen Saturday at 11 a.m., why didn't she call her mom? Why was her phone dead? How did her vehicle end up back at Prosser Reservoir? Like that, foul play, definitely. It screams foul play now. Yep. Yeah, what time are we at? Okay, I'm just gonna focus on the chat a little bit now, and then we'll call it a day. Headrests in the way. Car was upside down, so how'd she end up in the back? Yeah, CRV isn't a big vehicle, but I think there'd still be a little bit of room. Now, for me to like, I'm not saying that I think this was an accident. Like, I don't think that she was actually clamoring to get out and worked her way into the back. But if that was to happen, the vehicle goes into the water and it floats a little bit. Then it starts to pitch, right? So once you're pitching, and let's say that that's the moment where she realized, oh shit, I'm in a lot of trouble. Your initial instinct is to go up. So as it's pitching, the hatchback is the high point. So it does make sense in a way for her to climb back there if she's really panicking, just to try and get to the highest point she can. I mean, you aren't thinking about going out the window when you're in panic mode. I've actually seen, I didn't see it, but there was a guy who lived not too far from here. He drove into a dugout. His vehicle wasn't even completely submerged, and he drowned. His vehicle drove in, was still upright. Windows were up, and he was in there. He drowned. But the top of his vehicle was still out of the water. Oh, we got a spammer in here now.
I was just wondering, baby, what do you think about Mom and everybody dogging AWP? And also, what do you think about the property being for sale for 1.7 mil?
Okay, Cher asked me, what do I think about the mom or anybody dogging AWP, and what do I think about the property being for sale for 1.7 mil? Okay, I think anybody dogging AWP is either doing it for clout, to get some recognition, or they just have misplaced anger. Because as far as I can see, AWP just came in, did their thing, and found what everyone was looking for. I mean, maybe people are a little bit sore that AWP got the glory of it, so to speak. I know that's not the right word, but they outsiders came in and did the jobs that the locals should have. So maybe there's some butthurt there, but that's the only reason I could see why no one would go after AWP, because all they did was what they do. They came in, searched, and they found her. So no one should be mad at her. The property for sale, I mean, the price tag is irrelevant. I mean, you're going to sell it for what it's worth no matter what. But to me, it's a bit soon. Like, I can understand them wanting to sell it. Obviously, their daughter was found deceased right there. So I can see them not wanting to have anything to do with that land anymore. But it does feel a bit soon to me to make that decision to sell it. But that's just me. People handle loss and grief in different ways. Some people, they have to do things instantly. I'll give you an example. Trish, my fiance who passed away, I was living with her. And her parents actually owned the unit. And it was a little over a week, and they told me I had to move out. Now, that was really hard for me because I was going through a lot, obviously. And I mean, it was like I just lost her, so I was kind of hanging on to, her environment. Plus, that was where I was living too. So it was rough. But on the other side of the coin, I do understand that they just need to get that, they got so many things that they got to do. That's one block that they just need to put away. So I get it. Oh, it was already for sale, Susan. Okay. I haven't heard anything about this. So, yeah. So I don't know. That's the problem right there, is we get things, we get information, and we, sometimes we miss things. Like if it was already listed for sale, that's completely irrelevant then at this point. Why are people even talking about it? If it was listed before, then yeah, it's not worth even mentioning. But was it? One person says it was. One person says it was listed after. Yeah, that's the problem with this whole YouTube true crime thing, is people make shit up. Or they don't look into shit properly, and then they start spouting off things that aren't true. While she was missing, the mom dropped the price, 150 grand, and the GoFundMe was 150 grand. Put up a reward for 50 grand and dropped the reward the day AWP came. That's interesting. Oh, okay, there's that idiot. Getting spammed by the stupid porn site. I don't know, what do they think? People are going to be like, oh, I'm just going to click on this. I wonder how many people actually click those. It seems like a waste of time to me. They were adjusting the price as Kiely was missing. So it was listed before she went missing then. It is wheezy. Social media is like that. I mean, you hear one thing and then you repeat it, and by the time 12 people have said it, it's completely different. Horny guys. Well, it's not like porn is hard to find. I mean, you could probably search water balloon on Google, and if you go scroll down far enough, there'll be some kind of porn about it. Oh yes, I do have an Amazon wish list. I haven't added to it in a while. I got a couple of little things on there. Hey, Versi, welcome to the team. Oh, lip locked. I think I saw you before and I got distracted. But hello, girl. Plenty of pish. This is the new Hollywood thriller. It's making me wonder with these cases, these true crime cases, if they aren't. I don't want to say it's a psyop, but I mean, at this point, nothing would surprise me. Yeah, these cases always do. They start off fairly cut and dry, you know. But then, you know, people get digging, they find information. Sometimes it's viable, sometimes it's not. Sometimes people just make shit up just to get attention, which is annoying as hell. But it happens. Oh, and who is a Sonia Stranger member for 5 months? Thank you so much. And Versi coming in hot with a super sticker. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. All right, y'all. I'm starting to get hungry, and I've gone over everything I wanted to. Just go back and watch an AWP video and focus on that Nick interview and see what you think. Like, honestly, it just doesn't sit well with me. Parts of it are way too polished. He knows way too much detail, and other things that he should remember, like the day he was there, he doesn't remember. It was apparently 90 degrees, and she was wearing a sweater, and they've been there for damn near 12 hours stuck. Like, they would be exhausted, dehydrated, and the story doesn't add up. Plus, if she was seen at that point, then that means almost 100% this was murder, because that takes her away from that lake, takes her away from that party, and somehow she still ends up in her vehicle in that lake. So, yeah. I'm sure that eventually someone's going to crack, and I think Ryan Upchurch actually called it in his last video. He said, watch, now they're going to start turning on each other, and I bet he's right. We're going to start seeing people attacking each other, and yeah, it's just going to get more and more chaotic, just like every other case. Hopefully, law enforcement will actually do something instead of the Summer Wells case where they know people are breaking the law and doing awful shit and they don't do anything about it. Hopefully, law enforcement starts putting some pressure on some of these people. But anyways, thank you all so much for hanging. And, yeah. If you're watching this after the fact, let me know what you're thinking in the comments. I'll be checking. And we love you. And Cher will probably be doing a live later on today. Oh, Betsy Leak member for 9 months. Thank you so much, girl. Yeah, it's going to get ugly for sure, Rome. But all right. Thank you all so much for watching. And yeah, don't take everything I'm saying for gospel either. Go and watch for yourself. Do your own research. I don't have all the answers. But all right. Love you guys. And we'll catch you on the next one. And until then, this is True Crime Productions, the Prairie Boy 77, a.k.a. Prairie Boy 77, a.k.a. Mr. Cher, a.k.a. the Beard of Reason, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, saying good day, good night, and Godspeed. Love you.